Hello, everyone. This is a video today. This one's kind of this goes into my "War is a Racket" series. If you're some of the recent stuff I've done has been a little more scripted and some comedy stuff, but this one is just going into more of my how the military pays for war, and it continues to perpetuate war. So I'm going to read this article to you, and I'll give you the link below. Please check it out. Pentagon paid for fake quote-unquote Al-Qaeda videos or terrorist videos. A controversial foreign PR firm, public relations firm known for representing unsavory characters, was paid millions by the Pentagon to create fake terrorist videos. The Pentagon gave a controversial United Kingdom public relations firm over $500 million to run a top-secret propaganda campaign in Iraq. The Bureau of Investigative Journalists can reveal Bell Pottinger's output included short TV segments made in the style of Arabic news networks and fake insurgent videos, which would be used to track the people who watch them, according to a former employee. Really, $500 million to track who's watching. Okay, sure, that was their cover. The agency, see, that's their cover. Their cover is that they were making the videos to monitor the people watching the videos. But in fact, they were using the videos to trick people and public relations people in that there is insurgents and there's more war and things are bad and we need to send more troops and have more money for the military. That's what it was. But that's not the conclusion they come to in this. I'll just keep reading. And again, I'm going to leave the link below. The agency staff worked alongside high-ranking United States military officials in their Baghdad Camp Victory headquarters as the insurgency raged outside. Bell Pottinger, that's the name of this, former chairman Lord Tim Bell, who's part of this PR firm, confirmed to the Sunday Times, which has worked with the Bureau on this story, that his firm had worked on a covert military operation covered by various secrecy documents. Bell Pottinger reported that the Pentagon, the CIA, and the National Security Council on its work in Iraq, he said. This is your tax dollars, by the way. Bell Pottinger reported to the Pentagon, the CIA, and the National Security Council. Bell, one of Britain's most successful public relations executives, is credited with honing Margaret Thatcher's steely image and helping the Conservative Party win 3 elections. The agency he co-founded has had a roster of clients, including regressive regimes and Asma el-Assad, the wife of the Syrian president. Oh wow, I thought they were supposed to be our enemies. But that's Bell Pottinger, and they're a PR firm from Great Britain, so it doesn't really matter if they work with everybody because they're just a public relations firm. They can work with the military and the people that the military is against. It's perfectly fine. What does this remind you of? Anybody that's paying attention, right? They were pulling babies out of incubators. Remember when George Bush said that? All that lie. The girl was the Kuwaiti ambassador's child. She was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador, and she went in front of Congress and said they were pulling babies out of incubators, and Saddam Hussein's forces were doing that in Kuwait, and it wasn't true. Complete fucking lie. Or Jessica Lynch, or Pat Tillman. Public relations, propaganda. This is all this is. They were creating videos. I'm just going to leave the link below, and I'm going to sum this video up very quickly because I'm not going to read the rest of this crap. Because I've read this article like 4 times, and it makes me mad every time I read it, and I can't go through the article and read it and make any sense of it as far as just reading it and not commenting. So I'm just going to let you read it for yourself, and I'll leave the link below. But this $500 billion from 2007 to 2000, and I think this said 11? So it spanned both the Bush administration and the Barack Obama administration. Okay, they spent $500 million in Iraq on a public relations firm to make fake terrorist videos. And the reason they did this was because they wanted to see who was watching the video so they could data mine or track them or whatever. That is not the only reason they made these videos. That would be easy enough in a tons of different ways. This is so you control the media message and you get people to think that there is a war on terror that doesn't exist. And I know how that sounds, and people are going to go, well, Jason, no, it doesn't exist. There is no organized terrorism networks. There is none. The United States creates them through the Pentagon. And when I say the United States, I don't mean us. I mean the Pentagon, which is a separate entity, which is controlled by big business and is controlled. And these psychopaths with all that fucking shit on their fucking chest, all these creepy generals. And this was done by Daniel Petraeus. So Daniel Petraeus spent $540 million of your dollars to tell you and tell the rest of the world that there is terrorism in Iraq and make fake videos. Pretty shocking stuff. And this insider's come out. He helped work on it. He was one of the people that he was in one of the editors, and he only knows a part of the story. And they've gotten Freedom of Information Acts documents about this. But this just goes into my war as a racket. They spend money to keep war going, to perpetuate war. If Iraq, we were told the truth about Iraq. First of all, we should not be there. It's an illegal invasion of a country. Shouldn't be there. Have no reason to be there. Have no business to be there other than oil. Okay, and geostrategic positioning, which is another way of saying we're going to protect the natural resources in the area, or our deep sea channels for our submarines, or our, whatever bullshit concept they make up, like the Philippines or any of these other places. But it's basically to protect natural resources. Okay, and to maintain cheap labor. So these two things are done through the military, and the military now in Iraq is admitting. Now this goes into the NFL being paid and Major League Baseball and hockey and every professional sport and college sports to have fake patriotism ceremonies. The reuniting of the troop and his wife and his family during the game, or the singing of God Bless America in the 7th inning stretch, or those big flags you see that's all paid for by the Pentagon paying the NFL. It's all public relations to keep war going, because you and me don't want it. We don't want no war, okay? The soldiers don't really want war. Not really, they don't at all want war. But then you get these generals who are venal, okay, my favorite word, greedy, psychopath, nerd types. Have you ever noticed how nerdy Myers is, or McChrystal, or Petraeus, or even Colin Powell and these other guys? I don't care that they're soldiers and they kill people with superior weapons. That does not impress me at all. You're not warriors, okay? You're dressed up in camouflage with cameras on, fight, and you're suited and booted in literally how many thousands of dollars worth of fucking gear and shit, and the backing of the Air Force and the Navy. Okay, you're not a warrior. You're a bully. And these nerds who were treated like shit when they were children and then became generals, they are nerds. They do not like human beings. They are not good people. And we can go to the psychopath or the sociopath or whatever path you want to choose. It doesn't really matter. Because once you give any human being this much power, as a general has, or a joint chief of staff, or a president, to kill people in massive numbers without ever having to get their hands dirty, that's going to cause, for corporate and strategic business interests, you heard Donald Trump say it the other day, how rich people approach war. Henry Kissinger, all troops are dogs. Zygmunt Brzezinski, about what he said about troops. How many times do we have to hear that the army's just that the troops are disposable from the elite at the top? How many times do we? And then the generals reinforce it because they're part of the elite. Generals make a lot of money, and generals usually go and become CEOs of something and make $10, $15, $20 million a year after selling out their country over and over and over again, or selling out the American taxpayer to create these massive weapons of war that are just better ways to kill people from the sky. And you can pretend all you want that war is justified and that human nature creates war. It doesn't. That's not true. You have to be sold on it. And you've been sold on it for the last 1,000, 2,000 years by the worst fucking human beings that the history of mankind has ever seen. Because they were the ones, humankind, this is how I look at it. We all started up, we're on our little certain tribes and so forth. And then tribes started to want more land. They started to want more power, quote unquote. Insecurities creeped in with people, psychological dysfunctions, all of that shit, right? Then accumulation of power became a thing that used to be looked at as disgusting, but then for the last 5,000 years, 3,000 years, 4,000 years, it's been more than that, probably since we have recorded history. That you start to see that when people start to accumulate things, then recorded history, of course, happens. But then it starts to become more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And you then have these tribes who then are run by the worst people in their tribes, because it's the person who wants to be greedy and have all the stuff. That's the worst. So then those people send the other good-hearted people, they convince them that war is necessary and all that shit, send them to die, and then the only people that are left are the venal, horrible, vile, cretinous, murdering, worst part of they're not alpha males. You think Donald Trump is an alpha fucking male? You think Daniel Petraeus is an alpha male? Colin Powell is an alpha male? Okay. The alpha males are the ones that die first. The alpha males are the recon Marines, like my friends, who I've had recon Marine friends who were killed. The alpha males are the guys who join the Marines and special forces. That's the fucking alpha male types. Not all Marines, I'm not saying that, but I mean the ones that join special forces, you know, so forth. Army Rangers, etc. These are the alpha males. These are guys that really are but they're never the leaders. They never become leaders. They just never do because they don't. I think they disdain war. I think they don't like killing people, and I think they know they were duped. But there's a pride. And by the way, soldiers often mistake camaraderie for friendship. It's common. This is a psychological problem. I've had friends of mine who are soldiers who do this all the time. They have conflicted their love of fellow soldier. It's not friendship. It's camaraderie. And there's a difference. Look it up if you want to more about that. But the point is, war is a racket. You are sold that. And then the economic factors in our country have led the poor kids in our country to fight for the rich people. And this has been going on since the beginning of war. It will never stop until this universal soldier says to himself or herself or themselves, this can't happen anymore. Until old people stop thinking there's pride in the flag. Until patriotism goes away. Until jingoism is we don't even know what the fuck jingoism is. Until those things start to happen in our country, and it's going to happen at a base level. War will never change. More people will die. More children will be sacrificed. More violence will be. They'll create more violent video games to train our kids. They'll create more violence in Hollywood. Everything has a gun in it. Everything is martial arts. Everything is a fight. Everything. Everything's about a dollar sign and about money and about violence and about death and we've totally become a culture that's obsessed with death because the people at the top have fed this because it benefits them. It benefits them, not us. And we've let this happen because our soldiers won't just wake the fuck up. And I know because when you're raised by a family of stupid fucking idiots who believe that patriotism, they have American flags on the wall and their dads their dads spend $10,000 to go kill a deer. That kind of shit. Those are not good people in our society that we should, but those are the people that I guess I live in Alaska, so maybe not in your neck of the woods, but those are the people that people think are good. When you walk into somebody's house and their house is full of animal heads on their walls. That's fucking satanic. I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe in God, but I don't think I can think of much more evil than walking into a hunter's house and seeing all his shit on the wall, all of his trophies. It's grotesque. It's killing. It's because you're not doing it to eat. And then I live in Alaska, so I get this all the time. I eat the meat, Jason. The meat is healthier. Blah 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 blah. While they go to Burger King, while they eat potato chips with the moose burger. Do you see what I'm saying? While they're not making their own bread and they're not subsistence fucking people, they're actually just hunters and they like the thrill of killing. They like the idea of killing, and they're almost all ex-military or want to be military or authoritarian or conservative. And those are the people who run our country. People like Dick Cheney, who paid money to have people release birds up into the air so he could shoot at them. I mean, people that shoot deer and moose and shit in my own state from helicopters and planes. Just go into herds and just take them. I mean, fucking vile. And these are the motherfuckers who run your fucking planet. We have a representative here named Don Young who's been here for fucking ever. And when you see his office in Washington, it's an embarrassment. It's full of dead animals. Death, 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 death. And that's what the military sells you. And that's who runs your country because that's what the moneyed interests want. The moneyed interests worship death because death and destruction and greed and depravity and deprivation of others is the only way they succeed. Misanthropy is the only fucking way they have succeeded. It's the quickest way. Jack Welch in his book wrote, when you are faced with a budget crisis, first in his corporation in GE, first thing he would do is lay off the bottom 10% of the people. Not adjust his own salary, not go through and find innovation. No. First thing you cut is 10% of your fucking bottom. That's everybody at the bottom. And then you rehire half of the staff back. And you hire them at lower prices because they're just glad to have their jobs. That is who runs your fucking country. General Electric is one of the largest arms dealers in the world, military makers in the world, plane makers, engines, bombs, etc. That's who runs your country. Throw in the death worship and they're all greedy. That's why this country's fucked. And I just hope we're not Germany in the 1930s. Thank you for listening.